Skeletons. They're all in every one of us, even evil geniuses. Beer, 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 beer. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to me, Mate Brewski, for another Brewski review. And today, the beer I have for you, kind of an interesting one. Meaning, it's interesting. This is from the Skeleton Brewing Company from the United States of America. This is their Evil Genius IPA. Now, why I say this is amazing, we're going to get to that in just a second. Sorry I didn't do alcohol or IBUs. Alcohol percentage, 4.5% alcohol by volume. Evil Genius Session IPA. And 34 IBUs. But why have I said this is interesting or special? Is because, well, Skeleton Brewing Company is a homebrew? I haven't found any website. There's no website listed on the can. I went to their Instagram page. They have one post from 4 days ago, and recording this on July 2nd, 2019. There are other Skeleton Brew or Skeleton Crew Brews or other companies, more established companies by that name. But this is Skeleton Brewing, and on Untapped it's showing it as a homebrew session IPA. And which makes more sense is because this is actually brewed out in Oakville, Ontario by Cameron's Brewing Company. So it seems to be a gentleman that is a home brewing beer and has sort of came to the LCBO and brewing through Cameron's up here in Canada. Very interesting. Very excited because this is a little bit of a niche. A home brew, yet semi-quote marketed to the masses session IPA. Without further ado, guys, let's crack this bad boy open. Let's see what we got. Let's see what this home brew, contract brewer sort of, I don't know, mishmash, niche market kind of thing in the brew scale, how it turns out. Pouring it into my Rickard's pint glass. Let's pour it up. Let's see what we got. Session IPA, 4.5%, 34 IBUs. Sounds like a damn good time. I didn't even show the can. Can, black with silver, making a skull. Very easy to see on camera. A little harder to see on person up close, but when you bring it right back, you get a very nice skeleton. That's actually showing up on camera real nice. On the other side, get some information. Fun stuff. It's like a dot work tattoos. Kind of how I kind of see it. Very, very nice. Looking at the brew itself, decently clear, a little bit of haze on there, not too much. Nice golden color. Nice white head on top, just slightly off-white in my point of view, but maybe more white for you. Very nice. Let's have a smell. Ooh, that's a smell I haven't smelled in quite some time. It's musty. It's like a musty session IPA. Not too many hops, nothing crazy on the bitterness, no real big pine, no real big grapefruit there, but not there that much. Lagery, more caramel, butterscotch, sweet corn aromas coming off here. Nothing too intense. See how it transitions over to the taste. Okay. Definitely not really the traditional flavors you get from a session IPA. Definitely more malty forward, a little bit of caramel, slight butterscotch, cream corn, or sweet corn, sorry. And then right on the end is where you get your little bit of bitterness. You get your little bit of hoppiness, a little bit of grapefruit, but just a touch. Just enough to tickle your taste buds, but nothing really there. Definitely more, would even maybe like blonde ale sort of qualities, even in the color and even just the look of the beer. You wouldn't think session IPA, you'd think blonde ale. That's pretty close to what they have here in my opinion. So cheers everybody, let's keep on drinking and let's see what's going on with this interesting beer. Get some nice sweet melon in there. But as far as session IPA goes, it is far cry from that style. It's not super hoppy at all, not super bitter, No real pine, no real grapefruit. It's there in the end, but very, very little. Definitely, like I said, caramel, malt forward, a little bit of sweet corn, a little bit of graininess. The melon's in there, very nice in the end. Just wow, yeah, not a session IPA. That's interesting. But if it was a golden ale, and it has almost like a pilsnery sort of sourdough, souriness, bitterness in the tail end of the beer as well. It's like a hybrid of everything. A little bit of citrus there. Definitely coming from the session IPA sort of things that they were going for, but interesting. Not a session IPA. No, I wouldn't call it a session IPA. I'd call it like a heavy, like 80%, 85%, 90% golden ale or blonde ale, 5% pilsner, 5% session IPA, possibly something like that. But it's definitely more golden ale or blonde ale forward. Looking at the can, Skeleton Brewing Co. Evil Genius Session IPA, 4.5% ABV, 34 IBUs. Featuring a pillowy white head sitting on top of a golden nectar bursting with notes of citrus and fruit rind. The flavor is flowery, smooth, and crisp with light juiciness to make this session IPA a beer you will want to have more than once. Hops that are used are Crystal and Laurel. No ingredients. Best before brewed on date. There is something hard to read. Kind of got jumbled up. But I can see the time. 8:48. But other than that, can't really read it. It's there. Maybe the other cans are better, but this one, sadly, not. But yeah, it's not a session IPA. It's not a session IPA in the fact that you'd think a session IPA would be. You're looking at in a sense, a baby IPA. Hoppy, definitely more hop forward, citrusy, florally, tropically in some cases. This is more blonde ale, lager characteristics in there. It's very clear, not super hoppy at all. That 34 IBUs, I personally don't buy it at all. I think it's maybe closer to the 20s rather than low to mid 30s. So it's not what it says it is, in my humble opinion. But is it a good beer? Is the question. And yes, it's absolutely a fantastic beer. I'm loving the flavors in here. It's very diverse. It's great, great flavors from a lager, from a blonde, from a slight pilsnery, sort of sour bitteriness to it as well. And then the melons in there is amazing. And they're just very, very light, super light, tickle your tongue, tiptoe dance of bitterness and pine grapefruit. I think it's a great style. I think it's a great hybrid style of many different ones all coming together in one. But if you're going on the basis of it being a session IPA, very, very far cry from a traditional session IPA. Moving over to the website there is no website. I did go to their Instagram page and they have one post from 4 days ago. It's just the beer. I can't read anything, sadly, because my computer's not letting me. But that's all there is. 33 followers, 1 following. No description on the bio page. It just says Skeleton Brewing. Interesting. But if it is a home brew, and they got somehow going to Cameron's and letting them brew the beer up, and then going over to the LCBO and letting them sell them in the LCBO, I think that's fan-freaking-tastic. That is really, really cool. It looks like it's also for the Canadian market only because they do not have a Surgeon General warning. And that's usually a telltale sign of a beer that's either come from the US or a Canadian beer that is sold in the US is having that Surgeon General warning. Little tells you gotta pick up on. Very nice can design though. Sort of a matte glossy finish. Good information, not the most information, no ingredients, but at least they list the hops that are used, and there is a brewed on date on the bottom. Unlegible, illegible, can't read it, but that's fine. Nice looking skull on the front, very unique, very informative. That's not the word. No, inventive. Fuck, we'll go with that word. if you want to pick up Evil Genius by Skeleton Brewing Company, you can go to your local LCBO and find it for $3.10 for the 473 ml tall boy can. Nothing outrageous, still a good price. You're definitely getting some good beer out of this one, but not session IPA-ish at all. Oh, those melons in there with a little bit of citrus. Ooh, good time. Finally moving over to Untapped Evil Genius Session IPA. It's just been added, it seems. No ABV list, no IBU list, no real description. Either light, hazy, citrus IPA, possibly. They got a 3.58 bottle caps out of 5. And that's out of only 19 ratings. So it seems to be sort of in the middle of the road. Good beer, not a great beer. Overall, I do like it. I'm thinking, because they said hazy, there may be sediment at the bottom, which we're going to find out just after I finish it. And then I'll do a little bit of an extra tidbit of information if need be. But in this case, right now, looking very clear and very golden. Cheers, everybody, on the final sip. Let's get right to ratings. I will re-rate after I pour and figure it all out. But for what it is, Skeleton Brewing Evil Genius Session IPA. As the beer that it is, I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10. It's fantastic. It's great. It's light, it's airy, it's fresh, it dances on your tongue, it quenches your thirst. It's got great flavors of caramel, like butterscotch, a little bit of sweet corn, melons, and a little bit of citrus note in the back end with a nice touch of pine and grapefruit. Absolutely phenomenal. The sourdough breadiness and that bitterness that you get from a Pilsner does show up a little bit, not as intense as a Pilsner, but still a damn great addition. That's why it deserves that number. As for presentation, amazingly unique can design. It's kind of annoying to see in person and up close because there's so many dots, but on camera it's looking fine, freaking-tastic. As well, nice little bit of information here, not too much, but you get a description, you get your IBUs, you get the list of hops. There is a brewed on date on the bottom, like I said before. Not readable, but that's hit or miss. That's however the machine does it, or whoever presses it on there. I don't know. As for a website, not there, but you're a home brewer apparently with semi-contract brewing thing. I don't know, this is just information I'm gathering through the can and yeah, stuff and things. Very short, not really diving too deep into the whole history of the brewery or the gentleman that makes it or lady that makes it. I'm not too sure, but for my guess, that's pretty cool. Coming up, having one beer, going to Cameron's, getting that brewed up there, then putting it through the LCBO, probably through Cameron's connections if I'm not mistaken. I probably am. It's just me guessing because that's tying 2 and 2 together. Makes sense. But wow, that's pretty cool. Whoever this is, whoever's making this beer, that's awesome. That's pretty friggin' cool. But if I was rating this as a session IPA, as they say what it is, I would give it a 0. I would honestly give it a 0. This is the farthest thing from a session IPA that I've ever had in my life. But it's still damn good beer for what it actually is. On a session IPA scale, if I was going straight to style and true to style, missed the mark. Go for a good beer, rating on that side, great stuff. Like I said, 8 out of 10, or 8.5. 8.5 or 8. I'm going with an 8. We're going to stick at that. Before I leave you guys, if you have any comments, questions, or beers you want me to review in the future, leave all that information down in the comment box below. If you want to go ahead and like this video or subscribe to me, Mate Brewski, that'd be greatly appreciated as well. And with all that said, that's going to do it for me, Mate Brewski. Like I always say, crack a beer and enjoy. Cheers. And now we pour to see if it gets hazier or session IPA-ier. We're gonna find out right about now, but that's coming out pretty clear. Let the dust settle, and it's still clear. Cheers.